Remember now, it was if then in verses 3 and 4, but now he says, if you do the things, great blessings, verse 14, but if you do not obey me and do not observe these commandments. Now he gives an entire list of the terror that's going to come upon them. And then in verse 18 he says, and after all this, if you do not obey me, then I'm going to punish you 7 times more. And he goes through another list of everything he's going to do. And then what happens is this. Then in verse 21, now he goes and he says this, and then if you still walk contrary to me, and you still are not willing to obey me, then I'm going to bring on you 7 times more. Do you understand that it's not just you do it once and but now they continually rebel, and after a warning they continually rebel, after a warning they continually rebel, and then in verse 23, and if by these things you are not reformed by me, but walk contrary to me, I'm also going to walk contrary to you. And so more rebellion. And then in verse 27, as if that's not enough. And after all this, if you do not obey me, but walk contrary to me, then I will walk contrary to you in fury. Now understand, all this is what they are doing. All this is what they have done. And then he makes this statement at the very end of verse 30. He says this, and this is scary. At the very end of verse 30, where he says, I'll destroy the high places and cut down your altars and cast down your carcasses and lifeless forms on your house, and my soul shall abhor you. Whoa, you don't want God to say that of you. There's a lot of things, but not that. My soul shall abhor you. The core of who I am is against you. Now, we've talked about the blessings. We've talked about the continual rejection, to the point where it says, my soul is going to abhor you. But now take a look at verses 44 and 45. In verses 44 and 45, he says this, yet for all that, when they are in the land of their enemies, I will not cast them away, nor shall I abhor them, to utterly destroy them, to break my covenant with them. Now, he says, I will not utterly destroy them. Now, I'm thinking rebellion after rebellion after rebellion after rebellion. So mark that, highlight that in your Bible. Do something in your notes to draw you down to 44. Yet, for all that, when they are in the land of their enemies, I will not cast them away, nor shall I abhor them, to utterly destroy them and break my covenant with them. For I am the Lord their God. Keep in mind that's all caps. If it's all caps, that's where we call it Yahweh, Jehovah. It's the name of the covenant God. And then he says in verse 45, but for their sake I will remember the covenant of their ancestors, whom I brought out of the land of Egypt, in the sight of all the nations, that I might be their God. I'm the covenant. And I love that he says, even if you guys are horrible, I'm going to remember the covenant with what? Your ancestors. I'm going to remember it with Abraham. I'm going to remember it with that guy who was faithful. That's who I'm going to remember.